We go.
How are we?
Doing well. Excited for this call. Congrats on number one. What a
Thank
ride.
you so much. Yeah, I'm excited as well.
Yeah, the thing I wanted to talk about first is I think the main difference between you and everybody else in the school games and most other creators is your ability to build and grow a movement. And you call this a cult. So can you talk a little bit more about what that means to you and why it's so important?
Of course. I didn't just want a small following of people who kind of occasionally watch you whilst they're having a shit. I wanted die-hard fans who would change their lives based on the advice that I gave, the advice that worked for me to save my own life. And so we have the boys in the chat. What's up, boys? Spam W's in the chats for me. And there we go. Throughout the time on YouTube, I've spoken a very particular way with studying persuasion, religion, cults, multi-level marketing schemes, conquerors, warlords, everything. I studied as far as I could to persuade as many young men to get onto self-improvement, change their bad habits, and to save themselves. And they're here.
And what is your disclaimer around the word cult? Because I'm sure there's some people that are like, what the fuck am I listening to?
Come drink the Kool-Aid. The disclaimer of the cult is that I believe I am the world's first positive cult leader. Every guy in the chat right now, in some ways, has had his life changed by the mission. Of course, they're the ones who did the work, but I'm just the one who spread the message. And cults have only been a negative, dark thing before this, but taking their tools of persuasion and then using it for good to get young men onto self-improvements. Uh, it's been very powerful.
And what are some of the effects that you've seen? Is there any specific stories of people that have been inside the cult that have stood out to you as like, whoa, this is real?
Mm. So we did our first Adonis School meetup in May last year, and it was quite small back then. We had maybe about 15 guys turn up and meet us in Mount Snowdon in Wales in UK. And we all hike up this massive mountain together. It's hype, everyone's taking pictures. The boys are doing like push-ups and everything. And as we're coming down, one of the guys comes up to me and my friends, and he thanks us for it, and he says, "I barely even leave my house, and I've just climbed like a very tall mountain." And in fact, when we did a meetup in Ben Nevis, which is the tallest mountain in the entire of UK, someone actually said the same thing. He said, "I never leave my house. All I do is like stay at home and watch like TikToks and videos and stuff. And I've just climbed the tallest mountain in my country." And that's just one thing. Uh, it maybe sounds like boasting, but that's something we hear every single day in the comments in Adonis School, in like the letters that are sent to my home. People know my address somehow. So,
Really?
Hamza, like, thank you. You've changed my life, and I'm outside, by the way.
That's crazy. That's wild. And when you started the YouTube, I'm guessing building a cult wasn't always your goal. Do
Mm.
you remember the moment or the time period when it all started to crystallize and you're like, that's what I want to do?
Mm. I started YouTube because I wanted to make £2,000 a month so I could travel Thailand. I didn't want a full-time job. That was the only reason why I started posting. And luckily for me, there was this other YouTuber who had like this subreddit that was unmoderated. So I started to spam in your subreddit to get my initial views, and it was on the topic of dopamine detoxing, which was a lot deeper than I at first glance thought. Where basically you are taking a massive step back from the modern world. You're not really using technology other than for any kind of productive means. You're not eating junk food, sugar, anything like that. And getting onto that protocol that you first made in your videos changed my life completely. And I became like almost the mini face of dopamine detoxing in this mini niche. And it took a good few months, but when I had about 1,000 subscribers and I started to do one-to-one coaching, I would get these calls with these guys who would be crying, suicidal, depressed, deeply anxious. And it changed from a business when I realized how effective this advice was. When in only just 2 weeks, they'd be almost like I would go so far as to say almost cured of mental illnesses they had for years. For years, these guys had therapists, counselors, they've been taking medication. I would get them on self-improvement and a dopamine detoxing. And it wasn't me who was anything special. It was them doing the work. It was just self-improvement. It was, being productive and delaying gratification. And only in a few weeks they'd say that their lives had been changed forever. There was so many times in the first call I'd have with someone who would say that the one call they had with me was more valuable than the years that they had of therapy. And the reason why is because this was the first time that a masculine man spoke to them and actually shouted at them and said, like, let's take some fucking action. Like, stop. Like, I don't want to, you don't come onto a call to like just complain to me. I don't just listen to you. It's the whole point is I'm going to tell you what to do and I'll call you a pussy up until you get it done. And all the guys here, they'll vouch for it. It's like, we needed to hear this. None of us heard this in school from our parents, from teachers. It was only when you discovered like my videos and then eventually when Andrew Tate popped off that we realized how important this masculine criticism was. And that's when I realized like this is something huge. This could actually become like millions of guys because almost every man in every country needs advice like this.
It's funny, when I first started my YouTube channel, the person that was telling me to do it was somebody that filled a role very similar to the role that you were describing. He would go on Facebook Live. I paid for his Facebook group, and he would literally just scream at me like once a week for my regular screaming session. And he'd be like, "Why are you not consistent?" I'd make some excuse, and he'd scream at me, and I'd be like, "Right, got to make another video then." So it's crazy to think if that hadn't happened, where would I be now? Would I have uploaded my first video? Would I have stayed consistent? And how different would my life have been if it wasn't for that screaming or that masculinity, as you talk about?
Then why didn't you make content like that?
Um, I enjoy creating content about insights that I've recently had. So nothing drains me more than making content about gratitude journaling or doing your 5 minutes of morning meditation. That drains my soul. I want to talk about what I've learned yesterday, which is like further ahead.
Fair enough.
So, what has the process looked like for your cult building? What was the start? What was the seeds? And what were the phases that developed?
I actually exposed the entire plan on a video. Not many people have watched it. It's the video is literally titled "I'm creating a cult." Here's my plan. Like I gave away the secrets to the beginning. It's a hour long, step by step how I do it. Basically, I would get guys onto self-improvements by making clickbait videos that I knew that they'd click on, which was like on videos on how to get girls. They click on the video on how to get girls. I sneak attack them and tell them that they need to get onto self-improvement to get that or like to improve their mental health. Yeah, this video right here. And if you scroll maybe right to the end, you'll see like the full drawing when it's zoomed out, and I can explain it to you. Yeah, here we go. So stage one is the self-improvement struggle, or I used to call it the self-improvement depression stage. So guys, type one in the chat if you feel like you relate to this, where you know about self-improvement, but you're still messing up on it. You're not consistent with the habits that I tell you about. You keep fapping, you keep relapsing, you keep watching porn, video games, everything. So many guys are in here where basically stage zero on the just on the left there is like they don't even know about self-improvement. That's probably like half the people in the world have never even discovered the concept of like delaying gratification, not going on Instagram. Stage one is when you know about it, like many of the guys here, but they're not consistent just yet because it takes some time to create the habit change. Stage two is when you've started, you're getting a little bit more consistent, you're missing a couple of days here and there. Like for example, you're on a 6 day routine, but you are going 4 days, but you're still at least going. That's when you've started to watch my content. You're obsessing over it. You're watching my videos every single day where I'm nailing into you. You're a pussy if you're not on self-improvement. You've got to go to the gym. You've got to meditate. You've got to speak to girls. You've got to be confident. You've got to do this. Stage three is when you get into flow state, when you're not really missing workouts. You're actually starting to enjoy the workouts. You're starting to like enjoy being the mindful guy who's kind of different because you meditate. You enjoy reading now. That's when the progress comes easy. That's when it starts to form into your identity. That's when my videos are kind of like you watch them and you kind of know, okay, I know what I'm doing here. Stage four, self-actualization. At least at this age and this point in life, you're reaching to your potential. Not that you're at the ultimate place you could ever be, but like you've maximized your rate of growth. There's nothing that's really hindering you. Is anyone there? Type four in the chat. Let me just see. It's hard. I've felt like I've been there in some moments, and you kind of drop out when you pick up like another little bad habit or something. And at that point, you don't really need the videos or anything. Then the final part of all this was when you cross through these lines of basically following my content, my advice, you'll get to a point when you have inspired the people around you. At first, they didn't believe you or they thought you were being weird. Your parents, your mother didn't want to buy you protein powder because she thought it was like steroids. They didn't let you go to the gym because you were too young. Eventually, they start seeing some progress and you create that identity for yourself as the guy who goes to the gym, the guy who's like doesn't really have the newest smartphone, who doesn't care about technology. And eventually, even though the same people found it weird, eventually they start to find it inspiring. And that's when you become almost like a mini cult leader in your own society. And what's happened is you've come to me with an empty cup. I filled it with mine up until your cup over months or years starts overflowing. And that's when it's time for you to fill up the cups of the people that you love.
We're talking about Kool-Aid, right?
Multi-level marketing, basically.
If that's the progression of like a single person on self-improvement, what's been the progression of you building your cult? Because I know you've been through phases. There was like the heavily animated Jeffrey Adonis videos. Then there's been the like long guide videos. What are the different like chunks of phases that you've been on with your YouTube journey?
Yeah. Oh, awesome question. Just for like the style of YouTube videos.
Yep. And how that's changed the like cult that you've had.
Mm. So, I'll tell you a story in 2021. I was recording a video and I randomly said onto the camera, imagine these two guys. This guy's called Jeffrey, and he does the bad habits. He does this. And this other guy, his name is Adonis. And I just thought of like some masculine name is the first thing that came up. I was like Adonis, and he does like the good habit. That's all I said. My editor put like little memes over like the pictures of the Wojak Giga Chad without me telling him. Like he was like a nerd, so he knew about internet memes or something. And that's where the Jeffrey and Adonis was started. So from the start to around 2021 was just me recording random videos, trying to find my place using my phone and everything, and making the first like 50, 100 videos. When you're a small YouTuber, you're throwing spaghetti at the wall and seeing what sticks. I'd make a video about like um men's issues in the modern day. And then the next video was about back pain. It was just completely, I never even had back pain in my life. I just thought I'd get views. It was just completely like just scattered around. But when I started coaching, that's when I really started to take it seriously, self-improvement, men's issues. And we ran that kind of formula for a good few months. And then in May 2021, that's when an old video of mine just started to take off. It was a guide on how to build like an attractive physique for a guy. And that video had 200 views since 2019, randomly started to get 50,000 a day. And so the channel took off. It was with sheer luck, like pure just luck, that the month before that video popped off, I was working on an online course on the same topic. So as soon as it popped off, I was so ready to capitalize. And I went from being on government welfare, like universal credit, to never being below $10,000 a month from that point. My dad was a taxi driver and everything, so I didn't really have like any kind of financial handout. So that was an awesome moment. And then using that money, I was able to hire more editors, and we then scaled up the editing, and we started to have those animations, cartoons, Jeffrey and Adonis, everything, which all of the boys recognize. And then eventually, when I wanted to kind of change the content round, I went to these basically like course videos. Like I would just make courses, but put them up on YouTube. So they were like 2, 3 hour long videos that had taken me weeks. I'd read entire 1, 2 entire books for it. So like 15 hours of studying just to make the video. And then it'd be hours long of a tutorial of like, just do this and you'll get the results. Hours of detail. Uploaded a bunch of those guides. Loads of guys really like that as well. And then since that point, honestly, I've been using it, YouTube a bit more. Um, I don't know, a bit more like with an ADHD tendency of just posting whatever like comes to mind. I've not been taking it as seriously anymore. But yeah, lots of different seasons that I've been on.
And once you had built up that cult, I know you had various different monetization bits and pieces that you had going on. But what happened when you figured out what you wanted to sell and you started promoting it?
all of the time I was a YouTuber, I was struggling with making money. Like I'm a YouTuber, I'm an influencer, a leader. I can get these guys to watch and to take my advice, but learning the skill of sales and copywriting and product, that was completely separate for me. That was like such a new skill for me. So, and it was something I didn't really want to learn because I wanted to focus on more of the YouTube leadership things. So every time I release something for sale, like for example, a coaching package or a course, it was always like somewhat mediocre, or it was like presented fairly poorly. The copywriting was trash, I wrote it myself, or the website design was bad, or I hired someone but I wasn't a good operations manager to like hire people and everything. And so it was always like I was never what really that proud, apart from maybe the early days of coaching when I did like the one-to-one coaching. But with many of the courses I made, I was never like super proud of them. It was like it was a necessary evil that I had to make it to sell it so that we could afford to have the editors, so that we could keep making these videos that is having an impact. And I never wanted to like sell that much. I never saw myself as an entrepreneur. I just saw myself as like a leader for the guys in my tribe. When you spoke to me in 2023 about this time last year and you started hyping up school to me, it was your excitement that brought me here because you were so excited to to see me make money. And it was like I needed to see that from another guy that I respected, that making money, being an entrepreneur and learning the business side of things is cool. It's really cool. It's so fun. It's like a game. And yeah, as soon as I realized the opportunity that we have here in school, that everything was integrated. Basically, the two big things that I had sold before this, coaching and courses, were mixed together, and also with a community that I had a big Discord community at the time. It was absolutely perfect. It had everything that I had already had experience in, all in one place, which meant that now I'm not just selling like some course that's overpriced or some coaching package that I'm not too sure I want to do or anything, or a Discord community. With all of it merged together, I just have like a brain dead thing of like, I have one thing for sale and I'm just going to mention it all the time because it's such a steal. And since then, it's like uh, so much purpose and excitement it being here because I have a product that I literally genuinely think is a steal. So you've had this before where it's like you feel like it's your duty to tell everyone about it, not even just to like get money. It's like, bro, I'm in my parents' home. I don't have rent. Like I make $200,000 a month. I don't need the money anymore. But it's like it's when you have so much confidence in the thing you sell, naturally you market it all the time. I can't stop talking about it because it's such a steal. The guys in Adonis School, they pay 129 a month. They get thousands of dollars a month of like real value, not of like marketer, total value 19,000 a month. Like genuine, like how much you could say, you could answer this right now for someone on my level. How much could I price a mastermind experience at? Like let's say 1 day mastermind with me.
10 grand,
How much could I charge a group coaching call for?
couple grand.
We do 3 calls a week. We do 2 masterminds a month. They get it all with their 129 subscription. There's 18 of my courses in there. Those courses that you even reviewed that I sold for 900, 400, 500. I make a new one every single month. They've got all of them. It's literally everything that I've made apart from like YouTube videos put into one place. All the extra work that I do on top of YouTube, all of it's there. And their price doesn't go up. It's just the same price for them, even though I stack more things into it every month. So that's why it's become the value of school is that you get to stack this massive, massive catalog, which makes it such a steal that you, as at least me as a creator, I have like such positive psychology that I want to talk about it with complete conviction that it's a steal. I think that's why Adonis School has done so well because I really believe in it compared to the things that I had before school.
And in terms of revenue and profit, what does your financials look like? One, when you were recording those daily uploads, and
Mm.
two, after you joined school.
Guys, someone get the calculator and do the math for me. There's 1,700 students in Adonis School, and each of them pay $129. Who can calculate that the fastest? 219,000. Someone times that by 12, give me the yearly revenue.
This is quite useful. I wish I had this chat in daily life.
I've had
Far better than
ChatGPT for a
Siri.
while, bro. Just give him instructions. 2.6 million. If I stay complacent for the rest of this year, I'll make 2.6 million. And I don't plan to stay complacent. So, yeah, with 1,700 students, we're on 219,000 a month. Expenses is about 25,000. So about 10-15%, because expenses are very low these days. So, yeah, about 90% profit margins.
Absolutely crazy.
Thank you.
Like, imagine if you or me, when we first got started in all of this, could fast forward to this time and hear those numbers. It is wild. Congrats.
Thank you so much.
So hopefully at this point, people want to build what you call a cult. People want to build an audience. Let's break down everything that somebody needs to know to go from they've just joined the school games, or they've just joined Adonis School. They have no audience. They're a normal guy. They want to build a business. They want to start creating a school community. What are all of the different things that they need to know in order to build a movement and sell something to them?
Oh, awesome question. The unsexy answer is themselves. I'd love to tell you it's like post this kind of video, make this kind of community, but a community is only as strong as its leader. And a YouTube channel or an audience will only grow as much as the influence of the leader deserves. The reason why I was able to make a name for myself on the scene was because I was the first, like, quite like masculine, loud, aggressive self-improvement YouTuber on the space. I was the only guy posting like shirtless pictures and talking about the fact that like I was getting girls, I was going to the gym, I was this aggressive guy doing martial arts, and every other guy had a bit more of like that was my unique selling point. The others were more of this sort of like cutesy, how we're all being productive, his B-roll of me and everything. And mine was just B-roll of me with like girls in the car and like me, like, like training aggressively in the park, scaring people and everything. So I stood out and I spoke in the way that had pure conviction to the point that people wanted to follow me. Every day there's another young guy who asks me ideas, who says, how do I grow onto YouTube? I've posted these videos, and I'll watch some of their videos and I'll just think like, but you're trying to talk like me, but you're not. When I started, I was already 6 years into weightlifting. I'd already quit multiple addictions. I was living like I was in the military. I was shaving my head every morning. I was waking up at 5 or 4:30 before my dad, who's a taxi driver, would wake up. I was going out and exercising in pitch black, like darkness outside, even if it was running. I was doing all this like hard stuff. So it was apparent that I was like that when I made those videos. So then when I said, you're a pussy if you don't train hard, you could tell I was actually being serious because I was talking to younger me. You could tell that I had the credibility for this. I had the physique from like a natural bodybuilding. And so the number one thing you need to become a cult leader is your own experience in the world. Too many young people these days are just spending all their time, and business people do this as well. They just spend all their time indoors, and then they lose a lot of their credibility. Like if a young guy's trying to be a self-improvement YouTuber or some masculinity YouTuber, but he doesn't have like pictures with him with like girls with other high value guys, no one's gonna believe him. But this is the state of most people trying to like build an influence. You've got to be seen as an icon in the space. So how do you do that? Will you go really vigorous on whatever is the biggest topic of your discussion? So for me, it was like fitness and dating and masculinity and competition. So I did all those things. Let's say if there's a bunch of guys watching this who are just into business, they want to make a school community to help coaches scale up their clients. How much success have you had in that? Have you scaled up? Have you helped 100 coaches so far? My mentor has had over 1,000 clients. So it's like when he makes a video talking about how to get 10 more clients, you listen because you know for a fact he's done this 100 times. If there's someone who's a complete beginner, by all means, keep posting content, grow the school community. But remember, the biggest part of this kind of business when you're an influencer is actually growing yourself. So set yourself some kind of hard challenge, some hard goal. Some young guys listening to this, he should go and set himself a challenge of joining a martial arts fight or a powerlifting competition. Because then when he makes videos for years after this, and let's say he even lost the fight, but he says, and that reminds me of the time where I lost the martial arts fight. I flew out to Thailand and I trained there, but I lost. You're watching that thinking like, oh damn, like he's done something with his life. Where there's so many like young people who haven't really done anything, but they expect business to be easy. I think the reason why I was able to grow was because honestly, for most of my journey, business was actually the second priority. My fitness was the first one. And so if I've just done 3 hours of exercise and I've done crazy stuff, the stuff that scares my mother, that I woke up early, it was dark outside, I went for a run, I set up my gymnastic rings on a tree in a public park, and I'm hitting this stuff in the darkness outside. When I come back home, what kind of energy am I going to be talking like to the camera? With full aggression, with full conviction that I'm actually living this life, that my shoes are caked in mud. My shoes downstairs are still caked in mud right now because I've just done this stuff again, where they're crusted in mud. They're all battered and dirty. There's holes in them and stuff because I'm still living this life. So now I get to speak with the conviction which people want to follow. So I think one of the biggest lessons I'd give to the guys who are on school is for your school community to do well, you need to see yourself as a school, as a community leader. And the way you do that is by acting how you would imagine like the leader of a tribe would, where he's the one going out, he's the one who's like with the hunter, bringing back the boar and bringing the value to the people, where everyone looks up to him, where he's got a sense of status and recognition. He's got like a high level of skill in an area that people really value. You live life like that, people want to follow you.
And how does this apply to someone that maybe is in a niche different to self-improvement, like say golf? Same thing applies?
Take the strategy, just change the content of the way you talk about it. So you might not want to be talking about, the same things I talk about with masculinity dating. But it's the same thing. Imagine there's two guys trying to grow a golf community. One of the guys kind of casually plays every now and then, but he's making guides on how to get better. The other one has been playing like a psychopath, like Tiger Woods. Whose community are you going to join when you want to learn how to be a better golfer? Of course, the Tiger Woods guy, because he not only is his reputation there, and you can see his credibility. Okay, I don't know how they check it in golf, but you see, oh damn, like he's really high ranked in all these competitions. But it's the way he talk about it as well. Imagine how the second guy would sell his community. He'd look you in the eyes and say, I'm the best damn golfer in the world. I like my father, I went through an abusive childhood to be this good. You should join mine because I've literally put in 20,000 hours. I know the exact tweak of your left elbow to make sure that you get I was going to call it a home run. I don't know what they call it. But that's the difference. When you've put in thousands of hours and you are able to explain things so specifically that people are like, wow, he knows the insides of my brain, and you speak with pure conviction, people will believe in and they'll want to follow.
There's a really, really valuable idea in here, which is something like if you can define who your target audience want to be, and then you become that person, they want to listen to you because they want to become that person. And they know if you're there, then you must know how to get there. So if you got there for yourself, then you must know how to help them get there.
Right. And that's why I think Andrew Tate did so well. Iman Gaji's doing so well as well. They portray like a young man's fantasy of money, status, fame, women, and people lap that up. We all want to see the winner, and when the winner's making guides and paid programs, that's your hope. That's your ticket out of your current life to get to where you want to be.
It's a good like lifestyle marketing tactic where if you can position your current situation as your audience's desired situation, then they want to listen to you. How do you apply that to your space though? Because you don't stand in front of bright green Lamborghinis and flex in that sort of way. How do you position that to your audience?
The boys want to grind. These days, the grind is the dream in itself. Like so many men have realized that, it's the journey and the destination is very important, but it's the journey, it's the moment to moment experience of life. So now when I'm the guy who's showing that, and also I'm the guy who has shown the start where I came from, that's super attractive. I don't have the flashy like cars or anything. It's never because that's not authentic to me. I don't even have a driving license. I don't even care about cars. Never cared about them. I just take Ubers everywhere. But for me, what I do show off is the grind, the physique, the respect that I have from men, the hard training, the social life that I have, the dating experiences that I've had. Why, my relationship with my family is very, very positive and so healed from before. So although I'm not showing the materialistic side, because that's not me, there's still a lot of attractive parts of my lifestyle, which basically any guy who isn't materialistic would probably choose to follow me instead of Tate or Eman.
Yep, that makes sense. When people most often think of lifestyle marketing, it's like the Rolexes, the nice cars and stuff. But there are many people that see beyond that and want to feel fulfilled and purposeful in their day to day. And that's your version of like flexing. That's your version of lifestyle marketing.
Exactly. That's a really good point you've made.
So, say somebody has like what does somebody do, right? They improve themselves. We know that they've got to become the best version of themselves, their ideal person, their target audience's desired situation. Say they're on the process to do that. What do they do in the meantime? Do they create content? How do they start making money?
Yeah, awesome question. So let's say you've discovered self-improvements and you've set yourself you've gotten onto the Adonis protocol. Link in the description. It's in basically it's like you get onto some kind of plan that will help you to get to goals like your fitness, business, mental health, everything. Along the journey, building up the skill of growing on social media is going to be valuable. When I was 19 years old, I was in university and I had wanted to be a fitness YouTuber for a few years really badly. Like it was my ultimate dream job. I was in university and I literally didn't even care about being there. I just wanted to be a YouTuber. I was only there just for the lifestyle, basically. But I wouldn't post because I had this thing in my mind that I'm not big enough. I'm not muscular enough. And so I just procrastinated. I didn't realize that was just a form of procrastination. I just procrastinated for years. When I look back now, I was a 19-year-old going to the gym, partying, getting girls, and having like fun with my friends. If I vlogged all of that, like it would have actually been super entertaining. I would have actually built up an audience. I was still speaking in the same kind of way. I still had a very similar personality. So people would have watched, but I didn't think they would have because I had this insecurity that I wasn't on the level to teach other people. Now, what I recommend to the guys who ask me for advice on this, I say is you're not trying to be the expert. You're not trying to talk like me and say, this is the way the world works, especially if you're a young guy. You can't be talking like you know the secrets to the world, how, top 7 traits of the 1% man when you're like some little skinny kid like at home. So
When you're
don't
the
try and,
80th percent man.
yeah, it's like top 7 traits of an average man. Like, don't pretend to be someone you're not. Don't. When I was making my videos, I was already on this journey for at least like 6 years of hard grind, life-changing, heartbreak, so much like experiences that I had that I had a right to talk about that stuff. But let's say for me, that 19-year-old version of me, what I should have done is started posting videos, but not to think that I was going to be some professional athlete who is an expert who's going to tell you this is the right gram of protein per pound of body weight. But rather, I'm just this wholesome kid who's just showing you what I'm doing and the lifestyle that I'm living. And I'm also learning every day. So I wouldn't have been in the kitchen saying, okay, so guys, you need 3 hours after your workout, 1 gram of pound per, and there's a study that actually says it's 0.1 grams per pound of body weight. I would have just showed myself and said, okay, I'm having this scoop of protein because some guy on Reddit told me that I should have it now. That would have been wholesome. Like people would have, if I said that specific sentence, you would have watched it actually thinking like that's wholesome as fuck. Whilst everyone else is pretending to be like some science-based YouTuber, I'll be like, oh yeah, I'm just doing this because ChatGPT told me it was a good idea. People would actually watch that authenticity because it's super, super wholesome, especially in the modern day. People love that authentic Sam Sulek vibe of like, I'm just a normal guy and I'm just showing you my life. So, as anyone who's starting off, the biggest piece of advice is to post the content now as you grow, but to not act like you are some expert professional, but rather show exactly where you are. If you've learned something today, talk about it that you literally learned it today and you just wanted to pass it off to your 4 subscribers because people will find that really wholesome and they'll actually stay tuned for that. You don't want to be like a a beta male version of me where people will start to comment like, beta Hamza or whatever they'll say in the comments, because there's no unique selling point. There's no special reason to watch you. It's like your advice will be like mine, but just worse with less credibility. But when your advice is, here's what I'm doing and I like it, other guys who relate to you will be like, oh, well, he's kind of similar to me. And so I might like that too.
Such good advice. And to make it practical, people in the chat and that are watching this and that are watching the replay, you can upload your first video today. It's like, it does not take months. You can do it today.
Let me ask everyone a question. Boys, type one in the chat if you've wanted to be a YouTuber, but you've been procrastinating. Let me see. Wow. For everyone typing one, this is your action step. You're officially a Jeffrey if your first video is not uploaded by the end of today. I've spoken it into existence. You grab your front camera, press record, and you just talk about your self-improvement story. Talk about when you discovered self-improvement and what life's like right now. That's it. That's your first video. You post it today. It's like you going into the gym for the first time. It's like what for everyone who typed one, what would you say to the fat guy who told you like, "Oh, I've been thinking about going to the gym for the last year." What would you say to him? You'd say, you don't think about it. You just need to walk in. There's all these insecurities, overthinking. There's like, oh, but I don't have the perfect workout routine. I'm not. Imagine if the fat guy said to you, I'm not fit enough to go to the gym. Because that's what a lot of us are saying, right? Oh, I'm not, I don't speak well enough. I don't know, have the speaking skill, or I don't know how to edit. If a fat guy said, I'm not fit enough to go to the gym, you'd think he was stupid. You'd think he was just coping. So go and post that first video today. Go and take the action. You go to the gym before you feel comfortable with it. And then that's how you get comfortable. You post the content before you feel comfortable with it. My first 20 videos, I couldn't even watch them back. It was so weird. I'd edit them myself, but the moment it was done, I wouldn't rewatch it because I used to find my own voice so cringe. Now it's like on YouTube, the only thing I watch in my own videos, honestly, I think they're great now. It's literally just me rewatching my best bits. So it takes a while, but like Haddad has just said you find your voice cringe. Don't rewatch him. Just press record and upload it. Try that like 5 times, 10 times. That guy who walks into the gym and doesn't even know the workout routine, but literally just walks into the gym and randomly plays on some of the machines, has still made progress. You, who doesn't know, like, you don't know how to speak well, you don't know what kind of content to make. If you just upload a video today, or you just write a few tweets today, or you do a little TikTok dance or something, you've actually genuinely made some progress because you've shown up today.
Oh, but Hamza, what video do I make?
The first video, I always like advising that someone's first video, tell your story. It's just so easy. It's like literally just tell me about the time which you started self-improvement and what life's like right now and what your goals are. Super simple.
You have that good topic of entrepreneur 1.0, entrepreneur 2.0. What does that
Mm.
mean?
Entrepreneur 1.0s are kind of like the guys who are playing the old script of entrepreneurship, which is chasing money at all costs, optimizing only for revenue, paying for adverts, massive expenses, massive amount of team, just like forgetting about passion, purpose, whatever, just going wherever the money is. It's kind of like the old school, almost like weirdly masculine, but it's not really of business, where they don't really like their lives. They work all day. They don't really care about it. They make money, but then they're kind of too busy to really spend the money, and they're making money for their family, but then their relationship with their family is so broken that the money's not even going to patch over that. It's completely absurd. That's most entrepreneurs in the world. Entrepreneurship 2.0 is basically the new modern day entrepreneurs, the guys on school, the guys using social media, where you have low expenses, very high profits. You have a purposeful business where you actually feel like you're creating some kind of impact on the world. You're educating people, for example. You've made a product that improves people's health. You've made, like, for example, I've got the Aura Ring here. Anyone who's working on this team has helped improve the health of people around the world. Imagine there's, I don't know, the software developer for the app or something. When you become an entrepreneur 2.0, you start to prioritize purpose over profit. Doesn't mean that you won't be monetizing or you won't be making money, but you'll always look to see where you're actually creating a really wholesome impact. I don't blame anyone who's on the sort of survival level who just needs to make as much money as possible. You know, they need to make 1 or 2K a month to change their lives. But the only intelligent approach, especially once you're out of any kind of survival level, is to start to optimize your business to actually have a positive impact on the world and then see where you can make the profit inside of that. Because if you do have like a conscious, once you make enough money for many people, which is like tens of thousands a month, once you make enough money and you've had that for 6 months, 12 months, you start to question life. You start to quite like I know you had this. You start to question like the meaning of money, and you realize, oh, like what a stupid grind it is, and like you can't believe how much people spend their life on this current chapter of their lives. You understand why, but it's like it blows your mind. Many like most of us haven't experienced that yet. But when you do experience the moment where you've had more than enough money for months and months and months, years, everyone's retired. I haven't looked at the price of anything in probably around 2 years. Everyone I love is retired. I can buy whatever I want. I have a lot of money. I'm still sat here in the same bathrobe, like in the same room, just because I this is already like my happy life, right? But once you get to a certain point, you'll realize like just chasing more money, more money, more money is completely foolish unless if that more money is a reflection of the amount of help that you've given to the world. So if, for example, there was a porn company or some like, I don't know, some drug company or something that wanted to give me millions and I had to work for them or 10 times as much money as I'm making right now, I would say no, because I'm getting purpose and positive impact from the work I do right now. What if you're out of the survival level, you need to be optimizing for the positive impact you want to have on the world. And then this is where that smarter version of entrepreneurship comes in, where you wake up and you're actually getting creative ideas because you like what you do. Every day, it's like I work 24/7 because my brain's constantly getting ideas on how to help these guys more. And so I'm in the gym and I'm still technically in work mode. I'm even sleeping and I get dreams about how to help the boys more. And so the amount of positivity that I've had in my life because I became a entrepreneur 2.0, a purposeful entrepreneur, is tremendous. And I look over every now and then there's like an old school entrepreneur who says like, oh, don't chase passion, just do what makes the money. The market doesn't care about your feelings. I made the market care about my interests. I'll change the entire fucking market if I have to. The market, there wasn't a market there like at the start for dopamine detox content or for like masculinity self-improvement space. There was no one really in that space who was big at the time. I've forced it because if I'm working this hard because I care about it deeply, then the market will change when there's icons in the space, especially with social media. So that old school thinking of like, the market doesn't care about your passions or something completely irrelevant. Yes, it does. Bro, whatever your passion is, you could tell me any passion right now. Guarantee there's a YouTube channel with 10,000 subscribers, drawing dragons, driving cars. Guarantee there's a YouTube channel that just draws dragons driving cars and they've got a few thousand subscribers and they make a full-time income. Guarantee it. Whatever interest you could think of, like even gardening, there's millionaire gardeners, whatever interest you could think of, there's someone who's making 10K a month in it. And we all like, all these like uh, old school entrepreneurs say like, oh yeah, the market doesn't care, just try and monetize, pay for adverts and everything. So you're running this very like stressful business. The new age entrepreneur is lethal. Like you have the greatest life setup, even more than kings and queens, even more than royalty has ever had before. Like we think about it. I have status, I have fame, I have girls who message me first on Instagram. Less than like 1% of men can ever say that. I have unlimited money. I can go to any country that I want. I can travel at any moment, and it's actually good for my work, so it's productive. People want to be friends with me. Everyone's like in my message requests right now, wanting me to like appear on their podcast or their show or something. And that sounds like a brag. It probably is, but it's like when you get into a social media business, the benefits you don't realize are that good. It's insane. Like, okay, you build a social media following and you win competitions like this. I didn't pay for a single advert. I don't even know how to run ads. It was easy for me to win. All I had to do was send a few broken English emails to like 300,000 people, say, hey, bro, quick sale, join Adonis School. Here's a link. Like the link didn't even work. They found it anyway. Like,
And how does that link with your idea of you are the niche?
Social media is very interesting. Whoever you are, there's people who'd be interested in watching. So if you show relentlessly just pure authenticity, 100% who you are, there's people who would actually vibe with you. Someone tells me, like, oh no, but I'm an introvert. There's introverted people who are silent and awkward who've got tens of millions of subscribers on YouTube. So no matter whatever your personality is, the trick of YouTube or the special secret, which is very hard to do, is try and get as close to 100% of the real you as you can. I struggle with this all the time. It's like I'll start talking like Tate, I'll start talking like this other guy, Huberman, this. We're all like products of other people that we consume, and so I'll start taking points from other people. But what the people want to see in me is like as close to as the real me as possible, because then you start to form this parasocial relationship where you start to learn from this person, you pick up their mannerisms because you look up to them in a certain way. But if you kind of mix yourself and start to, like only either pretend to be someone else or to force yourself in only a certain niche topic, you're doing yourself a disservice. So there's some people who ask me, like, should I niche down? Should I only talk about fitness? And I always say no, because there's millions of fitness channels, but you care about fitness and tech, mix them together, because there's millions of people who have the same interests. And when they see that you have that double combined interest, they'll think, wow, this guy's perfect.
It's beautiful. And that it feels to me like Entrepreneur 2.0 and you are the niche linked together, because if you become the niche, it fits more in with Entrepreneur 2.0. Is that the way you view it, or do you view them being as different things?
If you do it right, you make money just being you. Like I just exist and I make money now. How insane. I was born in poverty. I don't know if I ever told you this story personally, but like I was genuinely born in poverty. I didn't get enough calories, like nutrition, to develop properly. So I had to be taken to doctors. My bones were all forming in a weird way. I was super, super underweight. I make money just being me now. That's the power of you staying as the niche rather than me needing to obsess over the newest fitness, sports psychology research, because that would be my niche. It's just what Hamza's interested in. And even after, like, I took that massive break from YouTube, then I posted inconsistently. It's like I still have like 100,000 active viewers on every video that I post on YouTube who like me for me, not the topic, because the topic changes all the time. It's just whatever Hamza wants to talk about. There's 100,000 people around the world who are interested in hearing that, no matter what the style of video is. It's a vlog, it's this, it's this. So that means that it makes it very easy to be a business owner these days. You just need to be likable enough. You need to improve yourself, live a really interesting life. You build up these true fans who really are so interested in you. They love you. They really vouch for you. And then at this point, it's like the business is just me. As long as I exist, as long as I work hard and I'm like in my community, for example, it keeps growing. It's awesome. I don't need to sell some fitness product. I don't need to stay on top of like, the latest program or anything like that. The business is just me.
And if you had 60 minutes per day to work, that's it. What would you do with those 60 minutes?
With my current business.
Yes.
Most of it would be inside of Adonis School. And at a small time, I'd record a YouTube video. Just grab my phone, press record, 15 minutes of me ranting about whatever like the Adonis School students were messing up with that day. Done. Let's say 45 minutes a day at on a school. Maybe it'd be either a call, or I'd be working on a course, or I'd be writing posts, or I'd be organizing the real life masterminds. And then literally 10, 15 minutes unedited video, just post that directly onto YouTube.
A lot of people think that to build one of these businesses, it requires massive teams and long days and loads of hard work, and definitely helps. But the basics are is if you just spend some time getting people aware of you, YouTube videos, Twitter, whatever, and then you deliver to people inside of your community, that's pretty much it. That's like all there is to it.
Yeah. Yeah. People would be surprised of how simple social media content actually is. You think you need a big content team and you need editors and stuff, especially these days, that unedited, sort of authentic vibe is really doing well. Like a lot of my videos are just one take. I press record and I upload it straight away. Always have done. Some of my videos, yeah, sure, I get the full editor. It's got animations, it's got editing, and those ones are super expensive. And I do them now for like special occasions. But you don't even need much. You literally need your front camera on your phone. Spit some facts. Make like a really good point. Like if there's a point that you've made to a few people and they've always said to you like, "Wow, that's a really good point." Make a video on that and make that point in the first 1 minute, and you've like captured some attention there. That's it. You don't need the edits. You don't need the fancy green screen. You don't like no one even trusts the influencers with like, the car in the background or anything like that. Like that's all it takes. Every single day on YouTube, I'll see another kid's got to 50,000 views, 100,000 views. If he plays his cards right, he'll retire his family from that snowball, like that momentum. How insane is that? Like I'm sure you see it on YouTube as well. They'll be like, just kids who have just pressed record. Most of their videos get like 1K views or 500 views. One of them randomly gets 100,000, 200,000, 300,000. They don't even realize, like most people don't realize, when you see a new like kid pop off on YouTube, he's literally going to retire his bloodline from that. How insane is that? He just posted a video. It's video that you record is like a lottery ticket, which means that like each video on average, if I've posted 1,000 videos and I've made over a few $1 million right now, each video that I've posted has actually made me about what is that, $2,000? How insane. So every time I press record and upload it, I've made $2,000, including those days when I was broke as well.
I have to ask, what was the drama with Jace?
Yeah, that was strange. I don't think he likes me. It was so strange. When did it start? I made a video about people spamming in school, which is it's been a fairly big problem, but Sam and his team have really squashed that recently, which has been so good. But yeah, we in Adonis Gang, my free community, we were getting a bunch of like fake accounts coming in and like spamming and sending links to people saying like, "Oh, join my community instead." And then we saw it was all from like they were all sending people to the same community, which was his one. And I clicked
Okay.
on it and I thought I saw this motherfucker. It's like his chat was like the fastest growing school community on the website. And it had 5,000 people. Mine had like 70,000. I was like, what are you on about? I clicked on join it on a separate account and stuff. And yeah, it's so weird. He was making like separate accounts to spam my young guys, like 15-year-old guys, 14-year-old guys in their DMs. Pedophile, bro, sending them messages like, "I'll come join my community," like copy and paste messages. So obviously we banned everyone that we would see. But the funniest thing was he at the start of the school games, he posted a few like competitive style posts. Now I'm a competitive guy, but I'm not an idiot. At the start of a competition, I'm not chatting shit. I'm not looking to anyone and saying like, "Oh, I'm gonna win this, guys," because you never know what happens. So for the boys who don't know, let me give you a backstory, right? So imagine this guy. He came into Adonis Gang and he started to basically scam people and spam, and he made multiple accounts on school to basically try and funnel you guys into his like scammy programs and everything. And at the start of this competition, which I've just won, he made a public post saying like he's gonna win. Everyone else has to accept second place, and that he'll be flying out to Vegas, like which is you go as the winner, right? And his comment was, "See you in Vegas." And he didn't even come in 20th place. So I have found his post and I sent him a message saying, "See you in Vegas."
Too funny. Too funny. Uh, on a positive note, what advice would you give to the people inside of the school games to help them get to 10K a month?
Okay, I'll give you a good lesson. School is a place where more is more. You've both we've read 4 Hour Work Week, for example. Many of us in this entrepreneurship space have read 4 Hour Work Week, Deep Work. We understand the concept of like, do the most essential task, 80/20. It's not the case on school. On school, if you work more, you will simply get more results. You get more sales and a higher LTV. If you've got it there, can you click on my school profile and share the screen so everyone can see? I'll show you a lesson here. So this is my profile, and that bar at the top shows how active I've been, like how many times I've logged in and how many times I've posted. I started around that time, like 1 year ago in April. And is it any surprise that you see from around December, I've taken 1 day off, and this is the most growth that we've had in Adonis School. We've doubled how many people are inside. when you look at that point, see that block of white in September there. I went to Bali and I did the whole like, oh yeah, I'm being spiritual, money doesn't matter. I stopped even logging in. Churn was through the roof. Honestly, churn was about more than like 50%. It was like 10, 20, 30, 40 people leaving per day and barely anyone even joining, so that it kept on dropping and dropping and dropping. Every day it was so demotivating that I'd log in and see that the Adonis school count was lower and lower and lower. And it's like, I was almost questioning it, like, why, why is the churn so high? It's like, look at it. I was barely even active. Of course it was. It's like I needed to learn this brain dead lesson. But like the more you log in, the more you are active for the boys, the more you're writing posts, sharing videos, making courses, the more that of course the people are gonna stay in there. Now, like Sen's just said, it's literally a tribe. What this is a community. Imagine it's like a tribe like the olden days. And imagine the leader just disappears without saying anything. How long are the people going to stay there for? Now, the loyal people will stay for a while, sure, but like some of the people are kind of like going to slowly take a backtrack because they're going to see that other community doing better over there and their leader's so engaged. Now, imagine the same tribe where the leader is there every day shouting from the rooftops, we're amazing, we're this, I'm going to do this for you guys, I've done this for you guys, here's a massive thing that I've just done. You join this tribe to get like, 50 in terms of value. I've just given you 500. Imagine every day your tribe members hear that. They're never going to leave it. And better than that, what are they going to do? They're going to start shouting for you. Hey, our tribe leader's awesome. This tribe's really, really awesome. I can't wait for more people to come in. Easy. So that's the lesson I'd give to anyone who really wants to make a bunch of money here. Look at that graph and just know that it's common sense. Of course, my school didn't do well in September when I stopped being as active and I was distracted. And now I've taken one day off in the last like 3 months. In fact, this is toxic as fuck. With me and my brother, we clicked on a bunch of people's school profiles and we were looking at the activity bar. And he clicked on this person's profile who's in the school games. And I noticed that like on the see like the bottom two rows, Saturday and Sunday, they were all off. And we couldn't help but laugh and say like they take weekends off. And we were like laughing like immigrants, thinking like, oh yeah, that's like that's funny. But look at your last bar there. Like you've been active, right? So you're way more well known in this space now since you've done that. It's common sense, but sometimes we forget this. Like Hormozi gave that lesson once in a few of his videos and podcasts where he talks about the lesson of volume. He was sent out and he was giving out the flyers and
Hmm.
he only printed off like 500 or 300, and then his friend says, wait, we only test with 300, we do 5,000 a day. And he was demasculinized by the fact that he didn't get the success he wanted just because he simply did not work hard enough. You'd be so surprised. A brutal lesson in success is that the guys that you look up to genuinely do like double, if not 5 times more volume than you. When I sit down to record, I'll record 5 videos. I'll record an entire course every 2 weeks for my school. I see some schools which have got like one course inside, it's like barely finished. I do another course for my community like every 2 to 3 weeks. There's a 3 calls a week minimum, and then there's extra calls with my coaches, testosterone experts, storytelling experts, and everything. Then I bring in millionaires to do coaching calls, like guest calls and everything. So it's like there's just volume. Just do more. Be in your community. Reply to every single post, especially when you've only got a few hundred people inside of your community. Reply to every single post. Ask them a question. Drive up the engagement. Give them a reason to come back and to keep on, like, engaging and being committed to your audience. Write a post every single day and ask a question. Ask them to collaborate with each other. I've just like I post one on Adonis Gang every day, and today I've just asked like, "What's your diet like?" and ask for advice. And if you're reading someone else's question, give them advice. There's like 1,000 comments on there. Just a few days ago, I wrote another one like, post a picture of you and ask for advice on like your look, how to improve your look. And other guys give each other advice. There's 4,000 comments. It's just driven up the engagement. Anyone who's gotten a good comment or engagement there, gotten good advice, they're going to constantly be coming back into this community thinking, wow, these guys really helped me. So that the lesson I'd give to everyone with school, with YouTube, and with life in general, you'd be surprised of how much more volume you could do.
So simple, but so valuable. I want to know what you did on January 24th with that day off. It better have been good.
I was driving back from Scotland, I was in Scotland for like 2 months, and then we were driving back. It was a very long day. And I even remember that day thinking like, oh, I could go on my phone and reply to a few people. But because me and my girl were in the car all day, I didn't want to be like, not present or anything. So yeah. One of
Nice.
those days that is a green block. I was really sick as well. I had a fever recently, so I was like almost bedbound. I was sweating everywhere. It was so uncomfortable. Like I had a bad headache. It's still a dark green day.
And have you told the people in Adonis School about the school games?
Yeah, they know.
Nice. Cool. Well, thank you so much. And a massive congrats on being number one. Number one's not easy. There's like 10,000 people inside of the school games. So getting that number one spot is quite the achievement. So massive congrats and thank you for your time.
Thank you for having me.
All
Take care,
right.
boys.
See you later, guys.